On to NFL Week 1 storylines. Tua Tagovailoa shined in Los Angeles. 215 of his 466 yards passing. Hauled in by Tyreek Hill. That Browns defense earlier in the day, swarming Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And how about the under yesterday? 11-4 in Week 1. It felt like an extension of the preseason for many teams as far as their offensive progression. And the Dallas Cowboys, wow, they crushed Daniel Jones and the Giants 40-0 at MetLife. Now, prior to that brutal bashing, the Favorites podcast went live to dissect the top of the NFC with the Niners and Eagles both winning. And there's another team that I didn't mention. Here's Simon Hunter.
I don't want to overreact, but I am going to react and definitely move the 49ers right back up above the Cowboys. That they're just right behind the Eagles right now. It's those two are just clearly the best team. And yeah, if the Cowboys come out tonight and win by 40 points on the road against the Giants, I can revisit that.
Well, here we are revisiting, my friend. He joins Green Dot Daily now. I mean, right on the nose, dude. 40 points. That part was right, but I'm still wondering and curious if you are going to change your tune on the Dallas Cowboys after winning 40-0 last night.
I would, but I can't not factor in people's playoff history. And every time you talk about the Cowboys and Dak, you have to talk about their playoff history. So nothing's changed my opinion on them. I still think they're the team that had the best value heading into the season on the NFC East. But I have no futures on the Cowboys beyond that. So they're a team that if right now we're talking about on a neutral field, I would still have the 49ers and the Eagles above them. And if the Cowboys were to host the 49ers or the Eagles right now, I would still make them a home underdog for a conference championship game or a playoff game against those two teams. So, I am highly impressed by that Cowboys team. Yeah, that was an incredible display of their defensive talent. But yeah, I'm not gonna overreact as so many do in Week 1. But I will say this: they were promised us something all off season. This defense will be better than it was last year. The Cowboys. And it looks like that promise might be true. Those additions looked like the real deal last night. I mean, Gilmore, you never heard his name last night. That's a good thing when you're a cornerback to never hear someone's name. So, yeah, 7 sacks. That D-line's really well prepared for that game. But, yeah, still don't have the Cowboys as the top 2 in the NFC yet.
Well, to your point, they had takeaways and they executed on short fields. Let me ask you this. Not a lot to work with. How would you evaluate Mike McCarthy as a play caller from what you could gather and really wasn't many situations?
Yeah, again, it's hard to say just because that was such a dream scenario, right? The whole playbook was open because they had such a big lead. I think they opened up 16-0. So it was one of those where you really couldn't go wrong in that position. But my favorite thing I saw was the touches they gave to Pollard. I was really excited to see how they were going to use Pollard. The fact they gave him so many touches, even in the red zone, right? They really made it look like he is their goal line back. He's their first down, second down, even third down running back. That's a big deal. If you had a lot of questions heading into the season about Pollard, he looks like he's everything he was promised to us. So, again, another guy that if he can hold up, that's a big deal for this Cowboys team. He looks like the real deal there at running back.
14 carries, 2 receptions on 3 targets for Tony Pollard and the Cowboys. Okay, well, they just have to keep impressing you, I guess, out of the gate for you to have any love for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's welcome in Darren Ravel, who's going to discuss one of the trends I brought up moments ago. Simon will stick with us for this one. Darren, as I said, under was the right side. Unders are fun every once in a while. 11-4 unders yesterday in Week 1 Sunday. What can you tell us as far as how that played out and how road teams fared?
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a little bit of Cowboys history because I have to do this. The Cowboys-Giants first. The biggest loss for the Giants against the Cowboys since 1966. Don Meredith to Dan Reeves 3 times. I mean, that is how bad that is. One of my friends was at the game. He said the best part, Giants fan, was the national anthem. So, and then a note from my guy, Evan Abrams. Over the last 20 years, Daniel Jones is second to last in quarterbacks in money line profitability at night. The only one worse is, of course, the redheaded stepchild, Andy Dalton. All right. So you said unders 11-4, and it's amazing. How do I go 0-9 when the unders are 11-4? It just doesn't make any sense as the under king. And then road teams are 12-3 against the spread, which is the best since 2006. The last time that at least 12 teams on the road had covered the spread. So those are a couple of trends that we've been looking at.
So, Simon, we know, and some of those teams that helped unders deliver were teams that got blown out because they didn't keep pace, the Giants being one of them, another team like the Texans with a new regime, new coach, new quarterback. Seahawks and Steelers, we think we're going to take the next step this year and build on their success at the end of last year. Those are some teams. The Bengals were a surprising team as far as just getting blown out. How do you bet teams that really underperformed, and for the most part, offensively, they were underwhelming? How do you bet those teams that got blown out in week 1 into week 2?
So the biggest thing for me is you make predictions heading into the season,
Yep.
and you don't overreact to week 1. So whatever number I have for each team, I try to stick to that number. Now, I will adjust where guys will overperform, and I'll be like, okay, I was too low on him. The 49ers were a good team. I was too low on Brock Purdy. He looked in total command of that offense. On the flip side, Kenny Pickett, I was too high on coming into the season. So that's one of those I'll readjust my view on the Steelers team and what Kenny Pickett's value is towards the point spread. So there are a couple teams that jump out like that. And then there's just teams that people get burned on and no one's going to bet them this upcoming week. And that's kind of where I step in, where the Bengals are really going to be a pros team this week. Like the pros will be on the Bengals because the public loved the Bengals this week and they got blown out. They lost a lot of money and they're mad. Do mad people go and bet on the same team they lost money on the week before? No. But pros, that's what we love. Like we took the Browns last week. Now I come in, I'll take the Bengals at home. It was -3, but that pro money is coming. Now it's up to -3.5 against that Ravens team. So that's just an instance of the professionals. They're not going to overreact. They're not going to overadjust to what happened week 1. The public will. So to them, that Ravens at 3.5 after they just won by, 14, 15 points at home.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of the square picks all week. People are going to come in heavy on that Ravens team. So I'm hoping it goes back down to 3 so people can get that good number that I gave out Sunday night. But the professionals might keep it up at 3.5.
Yeah, I would remind people last year, Cincinnati started 0-2. They played Dallas week 2 on the road and lost 20-17 in that ball game.
Cooper Rush.
To Cooper
People
Rush.
might forget that part. To Cooper
true.
Rush. That happened.
So I'm not trying to, bang on your pick here as far as
no, but it's true. They start slow. The Bengals, that is a real thing now. We have evidence of that back-to-back seasons.